This spongy leaden sky is Dublin. Those tombey houses are Dublin. Dublin's scurvy body. And we are Dublin's silver soul.
So here I am, back in Dublin. Back for the first time in years for a golf tournament.
I didn't know you cared for golf.
Oh, just interested.
To say we're just interested might be something of an understatement.
Anyway, it's an excuse to take another look at Dublin, to recapture its atmosphere and rediscover its people.
Oh, people are the same. Kids are the same. Dublin's the same.
The same? I hope so, because nowadays so much changes. A look then at O'Casey's tombey houses, the scurvy body, the silver soul.
You can't say O'Connell Street has changed much.
No? What happened to the pillar then?
A detail worthy neither of examination nor discussion. Now what can we show you? The hotels, the shops, tourist figures are up. Exports and sales of linen, tweeds and whiskey are up. A shopping centre for the world.
The skies are not so leaden then. Good. But this is not really what I want to see. How does Morton put it? Dublin in the early morning is a city the colour of claret. The red brick Georgian mansions with fine doors, fan lights and little iron balconies stand back in well-bred reticence, as quiet and dignified as if the family had just left by coach.
Except that they've just left by bus.
It is only shallow people who do not judge by appearances. Scandal is gossip made tedious by morality. Arguments are to be avoided. They're always vulgar and often convincing. 40 years of romance makes a woman look like a ruin, and 40 years of marriage make her look like a public building. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who seems to me to be living entirely for pleasure now. Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Yes, that's more what I wanted to see, the Dubliners.
Well, you don't have to look far for them. The city's full of them.
Familiar faces, familiar places. Parnell Square, Dorset Street. What's the name of that other one? Oh, yes.
Lovely. Tonight's only a shit, then. Round up to say 5 for 1 and 3. 2 pence only the height, so don't forget.
Dicey, Riley, she has taken to the sum. Poor old Dicey, Riley, she will never give it up. For the top is morning to the hawk, and she'll go in for another little drop of the heart of the rowless Dicey Riley. She walks along Fitzgibbon Street with an independent air, and down along the summer hill the owl won't stop and stare. She'll say it's nearly 1:30, so I'll go in for another little one for the heart of the rowless Dicey Riley. And poor old Dicey Riley, she has taken to the sup. Poor old Dicey Riley, she will never give it up. With a sloppy morning to the hawk, and she'll go in for another little drop for the heart of the rowless Dicey Riley.
But Miss Riley's Dublin is not what you might call representative. I don't think she went to Trinity College, for instance.
When a youth appears dull of apprehension and seems to derive no advantage from study and instruction, the tutor must exercise his sagacity in discovering whether the soil be absolutely barren, or sown with seed repugnant to his nature, or if such a quality as requires repeated culture and length of time to set its juices in fermentation. Here lies buried the body of Jonathan Swift, Dean of this cathedral, where savage indignation can no longer rend his heart. Go, traveller, and imitate if thou canst one who used his utmost endeavour in the defence of liberty.
He wrote that himself. And did you know that it was in St. Michan's Church that Handel practiced his Messiah?
Oh, but I've heard doubts expressed about that.
He practiced it there, and anyone who tells you otherwise is not only incorrect in his facts, he's also a dirty liar.
Art is for the people, for it is only the people who can inspire art. Other people see things and say, why? But I dream of things that never were, and I say, why not?
Some of it they term modern art. Well, there has to be a beginning. And if, as Shaw says, to confuse the noble and serious with the base and ludicrous is a Dublin habit, let's just say, we can take it, or leave it alone.
And we're all up to Dublin in the green, where the helmets glisten in the sun, where the bayonets flash and the rifles crash to the rattle of a Thompson gun.
The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man.
The rain came down like bullets, and the bullets came down like rain, as Oliver St. John Gogarty the river bank did gain.
He plunged into the raging tide and swam with courage bold, like brave Horatius long ago in the fabled days of old.
Galleys of the Lochlans ran here to beach, riding low on a molten pewter surf.
So the Joyce Tower still stands.
And who would dare to take it down?
And the 40-foot swimming hole?
Yes, though let's face it, it never was 40 foot.
And the notice?
And the notice.
And costumes must be worn?
Only after 9 a.m.
Hey! say, the golf tournament. I'd almost forgotten that.
Have you no sense of shame, man? Don't you know the very first golfer was an Irishman?
You don't say.
Setanta, his name was, the son of a king of Ulster. One day, he went off to see an old buddy of his father's called Cullen. He took his hurley stick and ball with him to make the road shorter. But when he got within a fair iron shot of Cullen's house, he was faced by a big watchdog kept there to keep off visitors. At 250 yards, Setanta took one lash of the ball and landed it fair and square in the old dog's mouth. After that, Setanta had to take the job of watchdog and was known from then on as Cuchulainn, the Hound of Cullen, the very first golfer ever to make a hole-in-one.
Qualities of a certain cheerful indolence, of an inbred fatalism, an instinctive response to emergency, of a passion for pleasure, of a marked indifference to punctuality,
and a deeply rooted suspicion that what is delightful is seldom, if ever, respectable. The Calabar was a clipper flat, stern fashion fore and aft. The rudder it stuck out behind and the wheel was a great big shaft. With half a gale to swell her sail, she could make 2 knots an hour. The smartest craft on the Grand Canal, though only 1 horsepower. You know what the hard Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington, is supposed to have said when someone said he was an Irishman? If one is born in a stable, it does not make one a horse.
But thunder and lightning is no lark when Dublin city is in the dark. Would you care to go to the Phoenix Park and view the zoological gardens? Last Sunday night I'd nothing to do, so I took me mother to see the zoo. We saw the lions and the kangaroo up in the zoological gardens. And thunder and lightning is no lark when Dublin city is in the dark. Would you care to go to the Phoenix Park and view the zoological gardens?
Now more than ever does the outside world go to Dublin and Dublin to the outside world, covering in mere hours distances that took Brendan the navigator months to cover.
Brendan in his little boat and all his adventures. Yet he got there.
Yes, and a few hundred years before Columbus. But what a changed and changing city it is.
You think so?
Well, steel, glass, concrete, all those new structures on the skyline. Oh, a matter of taste, I suppose, for the old too has its good and bad.
And its character. Even those toomy houses of O'Casey's.
Georgian in her looks, but also in her attitude to life.
And how I love the old town where every man is a potential idler, poet and friend. Where sock suspenders are less important than poems.
When money's tight and hard to get.
And your horse has also ran.
When all you have is a heap of debt, a pint of plain is your only man.
On a different plane. See, if you credit and read your
What's the secret of the pint? Is it the water?
well, it was the battery water. No, it came from a little spring up in Ireland.
A nation of brilliant failures, but the greatest talkers since the Greeks.
What a wonderful book. What our 4 daughters. They went abroad afterwards. College was
Here, talk is a game with no rules.
Remember the way of Moore Street.
Listen, tell us.
I won't tell you.
And in the cold light of morning, you wonder why it sounded so brilliant.
We'll have a fight. Whatever. More, yeah.
You saw it, of course.
No, I'd left by then.
You sit there and admit that you missed the greatest moment at Royal Dublin for years. It was the last hole, and the light going so fast you thought it was a conspiracy against him. His second shot, and plunk. Down it comes onto the green as softly as a seagull's egg. As near the hole as makes no difference.
Oh, come on. That was luck.
Luck, he calls it. Nothing of the kind. A master stroke by a master craftsman.
A local boy, of course.
Such chauvinistic considerations never entered me head. It was just that the best man was winning, and it stood...
Shh, just a minute. Wait for it.
A touch, and £1,000 in the bank. Of course, had it been me, my strategy would have been quite different. Coming up the fairway, I'd have tried to drop the ball just a little bit. This city of ours is no sandbank thrown up by some recent caprice of earth. It is an ancient place honored in the annals of civilization.